What is up, guys? Now, I'm Narendra the Comic, and today we're gonna be talking about something quite serious. It might be one or two things that I meld together, but it's gonna be a serious topic. So if you don't want to listen to me ramble on about my opinions, then just click away. Most of you are probably gonna click away about it right now. I wasn't sure if I was exactly gonna talk about this. I'm not sure if I'm even gonna upload this after I've done it. But it's about the Orlando shootings that happened a couple of days ago. Now, this wasn't just a terrorist attack or a hate crime. This was an Islamic terrorist attack on the LGBT community. This thing was disgusting, and it was saddening, and it made everybody feel sick. And no one has felt like this since the Paris bombings. And that was only a couple months ago, so look, these things are becoming more frequent. Look at that. Wow. Do you know what happened in Syria in this last week? Like, since Ramadan began, do you know what's happened? 224 people have been killed in this last week. Was that noted? Did you know that? Did you have any idea that that was happening? Did you know that over 200 people had died? Now, I'm not saying that that is worth more than what's happened in Orlando, or Orlando was worth more than what's happened here. But I'm saying we as a culture have now become normalized to there being a huge mass death in the Middle East. We've become normalized to something like that. That comes on the news, we're like, oh, that's bad. But this is different because it is a Western society. It's like, that could have been me. That could have been my friend. Could have been my family. Flipping out. So that's why we have a different connection to another first world nation when something like this happens there. And I sure as hell hope that something like this doesn't become normalized and it becomes like what some people view is happening in the Middle East, and they just don't really pay attention to it because it just happens so much. I hope that this does not go that way. But this is being called an Islamic terror attack. Now, I don't think that's wrong. I think that that's accurate as to what happened. His motive, this guy's motive, was Islam. IS have come and claimed this, saying this was them who set this up, or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not privy to the IS lingo. I know many Muslims. I know people from all over the world. I know people of many religions. And I do not think Muslims are the issue. I think that there is an inherent problem with Islam. I don't think it is the mass. I think it is definitely the minority. But the fact that it can be misinterpreted so often and by sizable chunks of people means there must be some misinformation and people misunderstanding the concept and perversing a religion. Like, it's not the Muslim people themselves, it's the way they may have been taught the religion. I don't know. I am not Muslim. I may be called a racist or an Islamic hater or something like that. I'm not. I am not a racist. I mean, everyone has their racist years as a teenager. I would say I probably was a racist at one stage. People will say, well, if you're a racist, you're always a racist. Trust me. I was super racist as like a 14-year-old. And then it went by the time I was 15. So, you know, you can change and your mindset changes, and the people you hang around with influences that a lot. Terrorists are not only boxed into being Islamic extremists. Terrorism has been around for centuries. Millennia, really. Like, Genghis Khan was a terrorist. He went around and terrorized the Middle East. And I took a type of consensus because I was like, I can't look at all gun crime. I can't look at all attacks. I'll just use a snippet. So what I've done is I have found out as much as I can about school shootings and just looked into that one area of gun attacks in the US. I'm gonna break it down for you right now. Okay, we're gonna go back 100 years. We're gonna take 100 years into the past. So in the 1920s, there were 10 attacks in that decade. Only 10. So that's one a year. I'm saying only 10. If there can be none, then that's wonderful. But there were 10 attacks in that decade. Then in the 1930s, there were even less. There were 8 attacks. It dropped. It dropped. This is incredible. This is looking good. Okay? In the 1940s, bloody hell, it stayed at 8. There were still only 8 attacks in that decade. The trajectory is looking like this. It's looking like that. It's looking pretty good. It's going down. Definitely going down. Then there's the 50s. The attacks in that decade doubled from the previous decade to 17. So in that decade, there were 17 attacks. Then, in the 60s, there weren't 17. There were 18 attacks. So it even went up. But it's controllable at that level. It's like, okay, at that stage you think as a government, as a country, maybe we should think about like putting in some major gun regulations, like so that not everybody can own a gun, because this is slightly getting a bit out of control. That wasn't it though, because then in the 70s there were 30 attacks in that decade. 30, so it essentially doubled again. In the 80s, it went to 37. So slowly this is just doing this. That's not good for a bad thing. In the 90s, there were 60 attacks on schools. 60 in that decade. I don't know why, in that instance, it really hadn't been sorted out yet. I think that was the time that it should have been dealt with. This whole gun control issue, because there definitely should be much more regulation than there is in the US, because it's like a killing zone on its own borders. Like, it's disgusting. And it's not just Muslims, it's not just one set of people, this is just everyone. Do you think when there's a school shooting and they don't say what the religion is, it's because now, because it's not a Muslim, it doesn't matter what the religion is. But then they don't say it was a Christian killer. They don't, because to them, it doesn't matter. But when it's a Muslim who's done the crime, it's an Islamic terror attack. I don't understand that. I do actually understand that. It's about the media perversing you to different people. That's exactly what it is. So in the 90s, it was 60 attacks. In the 2000s, it actually dropped. What do you think it dropped to? It dropped to 59. This is incredible. These are just recorded attacks, by the way. There may be even more that I don't know about, that I couldn't find. 59 attacks in the 2000s. Do you want to guess? I'm going to let you guess. Do you want to guess what the number of attacks there have been? What the number of attacks? My grammar is disgusting. The number of attacks that there have been from 2010 to now. Go on, I'll do a countdown. This is not a laughing matter. I don't know why. I'm just trying to be like I'm like deflecting the seriousness of this matter, because I'm just not a very serious guy most of the time. There have been 117 attempts and attacks on schools and institutions in this decade so far. We're only 65% of the way through this decade, by the way, guys. So let's just extrapolate that and get a prediction. So by the end of this decade, the way it's going, there will be 200 attacks on teaching institutions. 200. On kids. People talk about gun crime in the US, and I had some inkling of it. I had some idea of it. But the fact that this hasn't been, like, seriously dealt with yet is just mind-boggling. This is just a consensus, guys. I just kept this one section to give a roundabout view of this. That was it. So I don't know what overall gun crime is like. I don't know how bad it's been for the last 100 years. I just gave you a history of rundown on attacks on schools in the last 100 years. How do you feel? I don't feel good. Islam is an issue because of the misinterpretation people can take of the religion. But the bigger issue is gun control. If you can take away the tools, the killing will fall. It's really not that hard to add up. It's not. It will cap this situation. Now, these killings in Orlando, 49 people have been known and accounted for as dead. I think that's the official number now, and I don't know if that's going to rise or not. Maybe people in intensive care, they might, hopefully, sending good positive energy, everything's going to be fine with them, who are still with us right now. But this is the biggest homophobic attack in the world since the Holocaust. That is, I don't swear, that is freaking disgusting. And I know many people who are gay, family, close family, friends, and it's... This was an Islamic attack, and whenever there is one, it's always... Do you know who it always is? It's always Muslims who come out and say, first, I suppose everyone says it at the same time, but they are always there and they say, this was a perversion of our religion, this is not it, we're a peaceful religion, and people have misconstrued it. And they do not represent the collective unification of that religion, which is absolutely true. Those few people do not represent the religion. The great thing about Western society is that you can have your own beliefs, you can have your own faiths. As long as you abide by the rules of the land, you're A-okay. There's no issues. But Islam and Muslims, more importantly, are being attacked constantly because of their skin color. I'm Indian. I'm a Hindu. I'm not a super devout Hindu at all. Probably maybe 0.3% devout. But I'm brown and I get flack occasionally. Fortunately, I don't have too much of it because I live in a pretty diverse area anyway. Right now, in the Western world, security comes before everything, and it has the right to, 100%, before religion, beliefs, everything, because it encompasses everybody. And this statement will probably get me some flack, but I think that the burqa and the niqab should be banned. You may say that I'm just taking the easy option out and saying you're pinning this on everybody. Not all Muslims like this. I know that. I've said that in this video. Most Muslims are good human beings. 99% of them are. Okay? Just like with everyone else. But I'm gonna call you. You may say that I'm gonna say the same thing that you just said. Like a 5-year-old scuffle. That was a weird sentence. But I am gonna say that people who say that are taking the easy option out. Because they obviously are not looking at it from a governmental standpoint. You're looking at it maybe as a micro level. Whatever, but this isn't just affecting one community, this isn't affecting 2 communities, this thing is affecting the world. And there are dozens of other types of headscarves that Muslim women can wear. The hijab is fine. All the other types of headscarves are fine. But if you cannot see the person's face under that scarf, it could be anybody. And that's worrying. If I'm on the bus with somebody, I don't really care. I don't. But I know people who are just like, I feel anxious on that bus or that train. So I'm probably going to get battered for this by multiple people. And labelled and branded a racist or whatever ridiculous term that is. But you clearly haven't understood what I've been saying in this video. Because you cannot equate race to a religion. That's not how it works. I'm not a racist at all. Just not. But let's finish this video on the bigger picture, and gun control in the US needs to be sorted out. I'll just finish it with that. Anyway guys, I don't really want to do my normal outro because it's been a very serious and sad video, sad week or so. Also RIP Christina Grimmie. You are weird, all this, that was all in Florida as well. You were the first person, actually, this is just going to keep going on, you're the first person who I actually religiously watched on YouTube. Whenever your video came out, I would wait for a video of yours, and it's, you were only 22 years old. I'm just like, holy crud. You went on tour with, like, so many people, and you were just literally at the beginning of, you know, having a full-fledged career. And some absolute arsehole decided to anyway guys, I will see you next time. Skadoosh. Okay, so I just ended this video right now. I just ended it. And then I go online right now and I see what Donald Trump has just said. He just said less people would have been killed in that nightclub if they had had guns. This guy is just promoting guns. Oh my God. You know what? If you're in the US, just vote Hillary. It doesn't matter. She's the way better of these 2 people, so just do it. That's my opinion on it. If I was in the US, I would vote Hillary. I think that everyone in the world should have a vote for the US electoral system because it's the most important vote in the world you can cast. So that's my opinion. Holy shit. I'll see you next time, guys. Donald Trump, wow. You give orange people a bad name, you know. I know this. I'm from Essex. Orange people are not bad people. Sometimes they're a bit silly, but you're just a special case. You do not represent Essex, okay? You don't. So stop doing it. Stop being orange. Get your natural skin tone back if you can. Stop doing it. You're misrepresenting the big proportion of good people. Okay, well I'll see you guys next time anyway. Skadoosh.